see. All right, we are live. You looking all pretty tonight.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, come on in, everyone.
Come on in.
Come on in the room.
Look, Tabitha has everybody saying that now. I look at so many lives and everybody's like, come on in the room. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she got everybody singing that.
Yes, take us back in the day,
Yes. Yes, I love it.
They are coming on. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to the Journey of Success. Everyone say hello. Make sure you share. Let me see. Can I share? I don't know if I can share it afterwards or. I'm doing other stuff I shouldn't be doing. Well, let's get started, guys. Welcome to the Journey of Success. My name is Jelana Smith. I am the Life Coach Navigator. I am committed to helping you navigate the challenges with life and financial complexities of life. I am here to guide you towards the better version of you. This show is all about sharing the inspiring stories of successful individuals and how they navigated through ups and downs of lives to achieve their goals. Guys, tonight I have my dear sister here with me tonight. She is known as Coach J, Miss Jelana. Right? Jelana. I always get her name wrong and she never correct me. But she is a wellness coach, a personal trainer. She's also a lupus warrior that has taken back her health through nutrients and fitness. She is my husband's biggest fan. She's the only woman I let my husband get close to. He loves her so much. You guys welcome Miss Jelana Wright.
Hello, everyone, and hi, Stacy.
He'll be on soon. I think he'll just fight for his phone. How are you tonight? I am super excited to have you on tonight.
Yes, I am so excited to be here. I am so honored that you asked me to come and be on the show tonight. Hello, everyone. It feels great to sit down and have girl talk with you and success talk with you. I'm excited.
It's been so long, right?
Yeah.
It's been so long. So before we get into anything too deep, tell the audience a little bit about you. Anything I left out, let's talk about Jelana for a minute. Tell us a little bit about you, because I know some new exciting things that happened. To me, I feel like you just got married yesterday, but like tell us about you. About your new love. Tell us about life. Tell us what's been going on.
So I was Jelana Freeman. As of a year ago, I am now Jelana Wright. I just recently got married to my lovely husband, Tavares Wright. Shout out to him because he's going to watch this. But newlywed. I am also, like Coach Yolanda said, I am a lupus warrior. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2016. I'm also a wellness coach and personal trainer. Yes, serial entrepreneur too. So
yes, I love it. I'm always watching her, and you guys, I tell you, I need to get on track. We need to get on track. I was doing good for a minute because I was like, she over there looking good, posting her pictures in the gym, looking right. I got to get myself together. And I don't know how I feel out. So, Coach, you got to get me back together.
We got to get back on track. I remember you hit me. You was excited. You said, you know what? I'm going to get my products. I'm going to be fine. And we're going to get it right.
And you know what? It's like when you start a journey like that and you start out good, if you fall off track, it's hard to get back on. So I advise you guys, if you start on a journey, don't break your routine. I mean, I know some things happen where you maybe have to skip a day or two, but get back on track when you can, because
but you know what? We're human. It happens. And I'm telling you that right there, what you just said is like my motivation. Like when I start a challenge or when I start and I say I'm going to go ahead and commit to my wellness journey, I literally think about how I felt in the beginning. And that's like my motivation to keep going, because every time I stop, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go through this feeling exhausted and tired and don't know where to pick myself up, or, pick myself up where I started at. And it just begins to get hard. Or, you know what? I sit there and I think about it and I'm like, the more I procrastinate, the more I could have been at where I really wanted to be.
Right.
So that's like my motivation to kind of keep me going. I'm like, okay, just think about that goal that you had before. It could have been accomplished now if you had not stopped and you just stayed consistent. So just be consistent.
Yes, and I'm not even gonna blame the kids. I'm not gonna do that to them. I'm not gonna do it.
We do that. We do that, right? That'd be like
Yes.
parents. That'd be like the number one excuse right at the top.
And I promised myself, especially being a business owner, I said I gotta stop making excuses, put my kids in my excuses, because that don't sound right. Like when I said it so many times, and then I hear myself, like, I can't be blaming the things on the babies, because I still gotta be a mom, and I know we have to find time to put it in there prioritizing. But we'll get into that. But tell us a little bit what made you make this journey in life as a business owner, because I know before you were in the corporate America, right? And now you're a full-time entrepreneur, correct?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that journey.
So I am still working for corporate. I am in the healthcare industry. I work in a hospital setting, and my goal was always to shift and become full-time entrepreneur, which is what I'm still in the process of. My schedule I've just created like a schedule now to where I can work my entrepreneur business full time and still work corporate. It sounds like a lot, I know. But I've been able to do that just by setting small goals for myself, and trusting God, and just taking those leaps of faith and moving when He tells me to move. But what got me started in business, I picked up a passion first for jewelry making. So I know we haven't talked about it, but I know you know me as a jewelry designer. But I have a business called Lana Marie Creations, and I make jewelry. I started that a long time ago as a young girl, and it was just a hobby. It was something that I did with my grandmother, something that we used to do together for bonding. And as I got older, I kept up with it. And a lot of people started to know, like, hey, I see you make jewelry and this type of thing. Can you make me something? And I'm just like, okay, sure. And I fell in love with like making custom jewelry for just many different people. And that popped off way beyond what I expected. And so because it did, I turned it into a business. And it's been a successful business for, I would say, little headed towards 10 years now. But it did really good for itself. I was making jewelry while still working for corporate America. And I was also in college. And while I was in college, I ended up getting sick. And it was making it hard for me to complete any of the credits that I had to do for the semester. So I say, you know what, I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to kind of figure out my health and figure out like what's going on with me. And when I took that break, I went ahead and followed up with a doctor, and she was like, all of your symptoms that you're telling me, I think you may have lupus. And so I was just like, oh, wow. The only thing that I knew about lupus was that, a couple of celebrities had lupus, and that was the only time that I had ever heard about it. But being in the medical field, I knew what the disease was.
Gotcha.
So she was like, I'm going to run a few tests on you. And if the tests come back positive, I'm going to refer you to rheumatology. Basically, they're going to confirm that you have the disease. So I said, okay, test came back positive, and I went to rheumatology and they confirmed that I did have lupus. Crazy thing is, I had been having the symptoms of lupus since I was a young girl. But
wow.
yeah, but I did not know that, medicine had progressed now. Back in the day, a lot of doctors still to this day are still trying to find and wrap their heads around like everything that lupus involves. So few years back, healthy girl, I was always playing sports, I was always active, coming to the doctor, and I'm telling them the symptoms that I'm having. They're trying to diagnose me with something else that was not wrong with my body. They thought I had a heart issue, but every test that I kept running was coming back normal with my heart. But when I would leave the hospital or when I would leave the doctor's office, I still felt the same. And they kept telling me that, oh, everything is normal. Maybe she's just going through a growth spurt. Maybe she's a little stressed out, dealing with some anxiety. Maybe that's what's causing what's going on in her body. And so as a child, and not having my own health care, not being able to choose my own doctors, move here and there and make those personal decisions for myself, I just kind of took it as normal for me. And when I became older and I got my own health insurance, I decided, now I'm having these symptoms. They're happening more frequently. I'm going to go ahead and find some doctors that are willing to listen to the symptoms that I'm having and actually do something about it. So that's what I did. And I found the perfect doctor when I moved down here to Atlanta. She's been my primary care doctor ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, like once she found my diagnosis, I stuck with her. I was like, "Oh, you are with me forever."
Yeah.
Forever. Oh my gosh. But once she found my diagnosis and she sent me to rheumatology and they confirmed, my mom went with me the day of, and we just looked at each other like, wow. And believe it or not, a lot of people are like, what was your response when you found out? And to me, my response was a sense of relief. And I say that because usually a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, but you just got diagnosed with this disease. And, usually people are hysterical. But for me, I say it was a sigh of relief because nobody wants to be sick. But when you've been dealing with being sick and having symptoms for what you feel like is all of your life, and then you finally find out what's wrong with you, it's like, ooh, a sigh of relief that, okay,
Yes.
I know what's going on with my body now. Now it's time to do the research, and figure out how I can make myself feel better. So the first thing I asked after she diagnosed me, I asked the doctor, I said, well, is there anything that I can do for myself, to make myself feel better? She said, no, there's nothing you can do. We can just give you this medicine and basically, make your symptoms subside and just make sure you don't have any pain by taking these over-the-counter pain meds and giving you steroids. And that was it. And I was just like, you know what? I feel like that is not the complete truth.
Right.
And so I decided to go on my own wellness journey to do what I could to make myself feel better. And that's how I jumped into, my health journey with nutrition and fitness.
I love it. I love it because if anyone on here, like I never dealt with lupus, and I know my husband went through it with his mom, but just make me think of my son because he doesn't have like a disease or I mean, he's per se, but because he was diagnosed with autism, and just for you to be like, okay, and that's how me and my husband feel. Because a lot of people ask, like, when you got the diagnosis, how did you feel? I honestly can't feel the way my son feel because he's the one with, the autism. But, when we heard the news, it's like, okay, now we know why things was different. So now let's go
Mhm.
attack it. So I love the way you approach that. Like, hey, okay, now I got the diagnosis. Now I can. You look, Google is your best friend. Look, let's Google
Yeah.
some things to figure out what we're gonna do from here.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Google can be your your best friend and your enemy at the same time
yes,
on how you use it.
yes,
Because I know in medicine, oh my gosh, it will have you thinking that you have so much going on with yourself.
yes. Yes. You're like, oh my God, like don't freak out. Let's look at the positive
Right.
side of Google. Let's look
Right.
at
Exactly, exactly. And then, like I said, I work in healthcare, so we would have people come into the doctor's office like, "Oh, I got this going on," and I looked on Google and it said that I have heart disease and everything else, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, no, 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 no."
right. Oh my goodness. Look, that is so us.
Exactly, exactly.
So it's just amazing how you're in the healthcare field, then you know God taking you through this journey. It's like everything aligned, even though some people might
Yeah.
not look at it as positive, but it's a calling on your life, not because you're like when I met you, I would have never guessed that, and I know this sounds crazy because people say it to me, your son don't look like he's autistic. So like I
Mhm.
said, I'm looking at you
Yeah.
like when I first met you, I would have never known if you didn't tell me that you was carrying any kind of disease. And when you talk about the celebrities, I know Tony Braxton deals with it too. Like if she would have never said anything, who would have known? So
Yeah. Nick
yeah.
Cannon too.
Oh really? I never
Yeah,
knew
Nick
that.
Cannon.
Oh wow.
Yes, yes, he has another form of lupus. There are like three different forms of lupus.
Okay.
There's a s- it's called it's a type of lupus that affects the skin only. Then you have lupus nephritis, which is what Nick Cannon has, where it affects the kidneys. And then you have lupus SLE, which is what I have, that can pretty much affect any organ in the body. For those who don't know what lupus is an autoimmune disorder that pretty much causes you to fight yourself. So your immune system is preparing to fight off the bacteria entering into your body. What lupus causes it to do is your immune system is confused, meaning that your immune system is fighting off not only the bad bacteria in your body, but it's fighting off the good as well. So it makes your immune system suppress.
Mhm.
So when you're fighting the good and the bad, it can make your immune system suppress, meaning it can make you tired, fatigued. It can make you more susceptible to, getting colds and getting sick, um, that sort of thing. So, yeah, many different types of lupus. That's why you can look at me and say, oh, I would have never thought you had lupus. But I still have the symptoms. So some people physically on the outside may look at someone and say, oh, I didn't think you had lupus, but I know this person has lupus because, she has the butterfly rash or she has the
Mhm.
scars on her body.
Mhm.
And a lot of people look at, see lupus sometimes at its worst and think that that's the only way that you look when you have the disease and this disorder, which is which can be hard sometimes because I get people tell me that all the time, dang, you do so much and I just always see you here or there, and I would have never thought that you had the disease, but I deal with more of my issues internally than externally. And when I carry too much, you can start to visibly see it come out externally. So when I'm doing a lot, or if I'm doing too much, I may have flare symptoms that cause me to develop a rash or develop, pain and achy bones and joints. I may get super fatigued and tired. It can also cause depression. Um, yeah, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, sometimes it's very hard to, when you look healthy and then you have it, and
Mhm.
then it's kind of
Mhm.
hard to explain to others who don't get it because they only see you for, what you've been doing. So yeah.
Oh wow. Oh wow. I know my cousin, we never knew she had it. And again, if you never been through, because my husband, because he was by his mom's side. And when he saw my cousin, he said, I think she's sick, but she did hair a lot. So you know how Atlanta individual, we love to get our hair done. So I
Hair
was like, she was
capital.
tired. She worked from 5 a.m. to midnight. So she just tired. But my husband knew something was wrong, and she never told us, and we didn't find out until she passed away. But you could never tell, she was always on the go. And
Yeah.
I do believe that she had someone in her life like you to kind of help with the health and things like that, because there's a lot, because we don't know, and it's more than just lupus, like anything from high blood pressure and all these other diseases that's out there. And I think taking control of
Yeah.
your health can illuminate a lot. So we are grateful for you and helping us take control of our bodies and our, everything. Because if you can do it, look, we can do it
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Like really, that's why I ended up becoming a wellness coach and personal trainer, to be honest, because I said that it sounds so cliche when we go to the doctor and, we've got all these symptoms going on, and we tell the doctor, like, this is what's going on. And then they tell you exactly what you don't want to hear, which is literally diet and exercise.
Hmm.
And I don't want to always say diet. I want to say better nutrition,
I
because
love
you
that.
don't always have to go on a diet in order to get yourself together. And diets can be very discouraging. Like, that's the last thing someone wants to hear. So
Mhm.
just make, create better habits when it comes to nutrition, and, get active. And it literally, like, alleviates a lot of things for you, because when I got diagnosed, that's the first thing that I did. I researched a lot of different foods, and I was just looking up foods that will cause, like, inflammation, because when you have lupus, that's one of its symptoms, is inflammation in the body.
Wow.
And when I that was one of my main symptoms that I was dealing with. I was having chest pain, and that's why the doctors kept trying to test my heart. When I got diagnosed and they did an x-ray, they found fluid around my lungs, which was suppressing my lungs, which was making it feel like I had chest pain, and thinking that it was a heart issue, but it was really my lungs that had a lot of fluid around of them from the inflammation building up in my body. So first thing I did was, like, research foods that were low in that wouldn't cause inflammation, basically. So I literally went on a vegan vegetarian lifestyle for 6 months.
Oh wow.
And during those 6 months, and keeping up with a consistent lifestyle of exercise, I lost 30 pounds and felt amazing.
Oh
I
wow.
felt really good. And I did not deal with the joint pain. I wasn't super fatigued. After I ate, my energy was through the roof. Um, and I just felt good. And I was like, wow. And when I went back to the doctor to get a review and a checkup, he said, wow. First thing he said was, you look great. He said, I can tell you lost weight. And I'm like, yes, I did. And he said, and your numbers have decreased, my lupus numbers. So he said, you're not all the way in remission yet, meaning your active is still, your lupus is still active, meaning that I can at any moment go into a flare or have flare symptoms. But he said, I'm going to go ahead and reduce your medicine. I was like, oh my God, thank you, Lord. So that was all the motivation that I needed to feel inspired to help other people with chronic conditions. So not just lupus, those who suffer from obesity, those who suffer from diabetes, hypertension, all of that. I was just like, I really want to help those get inspired to move their body and make better decisions when it comes to lifestyle, so that they can make themselves feel good. And I had a really crazy testimony. There was a girl that I was training, and she suffered from obesity and hypertension. She is also a diabetic. And I had been working with her for the last, I want to say 3 to 4 months, just to kind of like get her in the swing of creating the good habits of getting up, moving your body, eating right. Once she started getting used to that with me, because my goal is never for you to spend a lifetime with me. It's just for me to spend enough time with you to where, they say literally you spend 21 to 30 days of being consistent in trying to work at something. And before you know it, the mind turns on and the mind says, hey, this thing is working for us. This makes us feel good. We're heading in the right direction. Then it becomes a good habit, for you. It takes 21 to 30 days to create or break a habit. So literally, like, that's always my goal when I deal with the clients that I have for personal training and wellness coaching, to literally get you to start there, create the habit so that you create it for yourself and you can move forward with it for yourself. And you can create it into a lifestyle. So literally, she was here on a contract assignment. I met her through work. And she said, you know what? I just want to go ahead and personal train with you for the months that I'm here. And then she's going to go back home to Mississippi and see if she can pick it back up. And that's exactly what she did. And she literally, I posted it on my Facebook, but she sent me a message back and she said, hey, I just want to let you know, since I've been home, I lost this amount of weight. She said, I am no longer a diabetic. She said, and I got a reduction in my blood pressure medication. It was crazy. When I tell you, I was so like teary-eyed, like I can get emotional right now thinking about it, but it like, that was like all the motivation that I needed. And it just made me feel really good knowing that I was able to play a part in helping her create a better habit and lifestyle for herself. Because I know what that feels like, to be able to help yourself feel better and do better. And then she can be a inspiration and motivation when she goes back home to her house, because she literally told me that now I'm working out with my dad every day in his gym. Oh, wow. And it was just amazing to hear. And that was like, that's what I live for.
Because you do virtual too, right? You do virtual. I know you go to the park with a group of individuals. Do you have virtual?
Yeah, so I am a trainer right now at a gym in Phoenix Fitness. It's called Phoenix Fitness. It's in Snellville, Georgia. So I do group training.
Let me write that down.
So I do group training there. And then I also do one-on-one training as well for those who are more so not wanting to get into the group training, but want one-on-one contact training. I do that as well. And then you see me at the parks. I do fit camps. So the fit camps that I do are usually either Saturdays or Sundays, and they're at different local parks around the city, because I try to reach many different people and just change up the scenery. But the fit camps that we have are at the parks. They're outside, usually under a pavilion for an hour. We have fun, music, prizes. You also get introduced to nutrition. I am a wellness coach with Herbalife Nutrition. So I talk to you more about the products and more about nutrition plans and meal plans. I give you a meal guide, and you get to come ask questions about anything that you want to ask questions about. And if you ever want to get started on the personal training program, that's always available at that time too. But yes, I do the Zoom workouts too. That's something that is getting ready to start back up, because I usually do that during the winter time, because the parks, it start to get cold and everybody's like, it's too cold outside and this and that. So we do fit camp via Zoom as well during the winter time, so that you can work out at your own convenience in the house. It's usually around 7:30. You done got home, got the kids situated, and got that.
Just make that big dinner.
Yes, and we work out via Zoom for pretty much about 45 minutes. And yeah, we just have a really good time.
Oh, that's awesome. Someone did ask a question. Let me pin that. Do you have to implement heavy exercising?
No, not at all. So the way I coach is beginner friendly, and it goes all the way to advanced. I work with you based upon where you're at. I meet all my clients where they're at, and I help them create healthy lifestyles from where they're at to where they're going. So I talk to you one-on-one about your personal goals. This is never anything that's like set in stone. So I never come to you and say, oh, this is the only program that I do and hope that you can work it. No, I ask you, what is your medical history? What are your personal goals that you have for yourself? Do you have any injuries? Do you have any concerns, anything going on with your body that I should know about? And I work with you based upon where you're at right now, because I never want anybody to get discouraged. Like I said, I have been like an athlete all my life, pretty much, in school. From elementary to high school, I played sports. And then after I left school, sports went goodbye. And life happened, and I became a mother. And just, your body, as you grow and you get older, your body changes. So I fell off of the journey of like working out and everything like that. But when I started back working out, when I tell you, it was the toughest thing ever. And I remember going to the gym in my neighborhood when I lived in apartments at this time. And I would go to my apartment neighborhood gym, and it would just be me in there, and I will get on the treadmill, and I'm literally looking at the timer, and I'm light jogging, and I'm like, Jelana, just make it to 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And I am breathing heavy.
Oh, wow.
And I was young at the time. I'm like, this is ridiculous how I feel right now. I cannot believe how crazy I'm breathing. Like I am on the outside, because everybody's been telling me all my life, oh, Jelana, you don't need to lose any weight.
I was one of them. I was like, shit, what she talking about weight? Honey, she don't know nothing about no weight.
Like, you lose weight, you're literally gonna be this big. And I'm like, y'all have no idea how bad of shape I am on the inside, though. I look good on the outside, but on the inside, I am tore up. And
that makes sense, though.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes you see people who are like petite and small, and you even have people like me, and then you literally see them running, and you done outran them. And you thought because they were smaller that they were going to outrun you or that they were stronger than you. No, that's not the truth. You can literally, it's about the inside and, how strong you are on the inside and what you put into your body. It affects all of that. So I could tell that I just was out of shape. And so that was like the motivation that I needed right then and there. I was running and I was like, I never want to feel like this again. Because this
you have convicted me. I gotta call you in the morning and be like, okay, let's plan together, because you be putting your meal prep together. I was like, oh my God, if I could just have my hands on some of that. And then I open the refrigerator and none of that healthy stuff in there.
You can do it. I promise you can do it. All it takes is for you to do it like a couple of times, and then you'll start getting in your head and start planning. I'm telling you, like, social media and TikTok make it so easy for everybody nowadays.
Yeah.
Even the days where I'm like, I don't know what to cook, I don't know what to do, like, get on Pinterest or something on TikTok, and it's like, boom, okay, cool, I can throw that together real fast.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. That is so true. And because I think sometimes we have that perception of, when you were saying about the weight, like we look at skinny as healthy and we look at big as unhealthy. Instead of, we don't think about the inside, with all of the bad habits that we put in the inside. Because because I've seen some skinny people eat, honey. I mean,
yes, they can eat, and I'm telling you, and then it's time to run or do something, and they be like, I see it all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But yes, so I love meeting my clients where they're at, and I just believe in helping them create better lifestyle and better habits for themselves through personal development, fitness, and nutrition. And I mentioned personal development because you have to take care of your mind. A lot of people think, oh, I went to the gym and, I had that stress relief for that moment. But you can have that relief in the mind if you work on personal development daily and not just for that moment. So personal development, literally, it comes in many different forms, but it basically sums up around you taking care of your mind. So whether what that looks like is you getting up and you taking a moment to be with yourself and God, reading scripture, listening to a sermon, reading your favorite book, just something that's going to uplift you, something that's going to be positive, and something that's going to take your mind off of the circumstances of the world and what you may be going through. It just sets the tone of your day, and it helps you, look at, basically feel like you can overcome anything that may try to step in the way of where you're going and what you're trying to do. So I definitely encourage all of my clients work on personal development daily, because that's going to give you also that mental strength that you need to keep going.
Absolutely. And when you speak on that, like what, and I know you mentioned the personal development, but what are some of the biggest challenges you face along the way? And I know personal development might be a way that you overcome them, but is there any other way that you overcome those biggest challenges that you face, having lupus and then still working a full-time job, still being an entrepreneur, you're a mom, added a husband on now. So those are full-time, all of those are full-time jobs.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So I have to definitely take care of my mind, because I'm operating in so many different things. And going back to what I said, one of the symptoms of lupus can be depression. And in the past, I dealt with depression not knowing where it was stemming from. This is prior to me even being diagnosed. And how I overcame that situation is drawing myself closer to God, establishing that relationship with Him definitely helped me with any challenges that I was facing. But establishing my relationship with Christ and working on personal development daily definitely helped me get rid of the triggers that would cause me to go into a flare with my lupus. So once I found out what my triggers were, I was also able to better manage my chronic condition, by not going into a flare and making it worse. So not only by fitness and nutrition, but also taking care of my mind, recognizing what my triggers and my stresses were, because if I'm not resting or if I'm stressed out or dealing with any kind of anxiety, those are some of the main things that can cause me to go into a lupus flare. So what I try to do is make sure that I give myself the personal time that I need, to make sure that, hey, if I'm doing too much, I communicate that to the loved ones around me and I let them know, hey, I know you're used to me doing X, Y, and Z, but mama needs a break, you know? So yeah, so literally like and just being transparent this month, for the month of September, I took some time off and thankfully I have like some really understanding, really amazing clients, very supporting family and husband, and I just let them know, hey, for the month of September, I'm going to go ahead and give myself a break because the month prior to that, I could tell I was doing a little bit too much and I started to have some, outbreaks and rashes pop up on my body. And that's like my ding dong. All right, it's time to rest. It's time to rest. You're doing a lot right now. And so I literally said, okay, God, I know it's time for me to sit my butt down, because if I don't, I'll just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until it is no more. So I just made sure I communicated, how I was feeling to everyone. And I took the personal time to sit myself down and give my body a break and just catch up on my personal development, taking care of my mind, my body, my spirit. And yes, I am regenerated and back on the map next month. That's just for anybody, though. We get plenty of signs sent to us, and it's up to you to listen to those signs, to make sure that you don't get worse. And this is people without chronic conditions. This is
Right.
anybody suffering with anything, whether you're suffering with depression, anxiety, just the stresses of the world. Some people may be serial entrepreneurs like me, business owners, and you have to take care of home, you're taking care of the kids, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you feel like you're driving yourself crazy. Just take that moment to take care of yourself, be selfish and take care of yourself first. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, then how are you going to be able to do any of the stuff that you're pressing yourself so hard to accomplish right now? At the end of the day, it's just kind of like when you go to a job in corporate America and they say, oh, go ahead and take that PTO, go ahead and take that vacation, take that time off that you need, because at the end of the day, they will replace you tomorrow.
Yes.
You get plenty of signs that you need to take care of your body before you get bad, and it's just up to us to make sure that we listen to those signs and we communicate that to our loved ones and we do what's necessary for us.
And that's a good point, because it's very important who you surround yourself with, because a lot of time, and that's good that you do that, because I know me, speaking on my personal life, sometimes I was at a point where I didn't communicate it, and then but that it builds up to where you can't function, whether it's in business, whether it's with your loved ones and with your friends, family, or whoever it is, and
Yes.
might have a moment, they like, what is going on with her? It's like I never communicated, so now I might look at it like she's different, maybe that's a bad thing. I don't like her no more, you know. But so it's good that you communicated that, and it's good to surround yourself with people that understand, hey, boundaries.
Yes, yes.
And that's good to have, even like you said, no matter what you're going through, what you're dealing with, stress or whatever, and just daily life, you know, your life, you know,
Absolutely.
especially being an entrepreneur is so it's so stressful because sometimes like people don't understand because you're an entrepreneur, you work your entrepreneur, your whatever you're doing harder than you did a 9 to 5.
Yes.
Because
Yeah, for
yeah,
real.
it's like the 9 to 5, you know, I'm gonna clock in and I'm gonna clock out here and I know how much I'm
Mhm.
getting paid. With
Yes.
entrepreneurship is like I gotta make it happen to what I want my income to be like. So you have
Yeah.
to put in no extra hours. So it's like you have to make that balance. So I love the way I'm gonna do that. That's a good point. I'm taking notes myself.
And I was able to still function with like my clients as well. Like before I went on the break, I let them know, like, just because I'm off from the gym, this is why I work with them the way that I do that. And I said that I try to help them create good habits for themselves. So just because I was on vacation and I was on a break, that
Right.
meant that they still needed to be working. So they still had access to me to get any at home workouts that they wanted, any plans, any nutrition meal plans. They could even come to still pick up
Okay.
meal prep from me if they needed to, you know what I mean? So the business kept going even though I was on a break. But that's another thing that I always try to teach my clients is, you know, don't be solely dependent on me. Make sure that you are doing this for you so that you create this habit for yourself and turn it into a lifestyle. So they were able to keep up with the things that I was teaching them when they were with me one on one while I was off a break. And I felt like a proud mama.
Yay.
Some, some of them I still had to crack the whip on a little bit, but I'm
That's
like,
a
girl,
cool
you ain't been
job.
working out. But and some of them were like, yeah, I have. I've been doing a little bit here and there, but when we get back in the gym, I'm gonna be able to tell.
Yep, yep, yep. Look, cause you remember that treadmill when you was breathing hard, so you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, who were some of your biggest supporters during your journey? Like from, I know you had some that probably came in at a later time in life, but who were some of your biggest supporters?
Okay. Number one, definitely my mom. My mom has been one of my major supporters through this whole ordeal. Um, I would next say my son. Okay,
Oh,
Amir, he has definitely been a major support because he gets to see his mama in all aspects.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
whereas everyone else on the outside was getting to see happy Jelana, feel good Jelana,
Mm-hmm.
he gets to see at home when I'm not well Jelana,
Mm-hmm.
so just even being my son and just being, he doesn't fully understand the lupus process and everything like that, but he knows mom and he knows when I'm not well and when I am. And he would always come and say, hey mom,
Oh.
you don't feel good. Okay, you need to rest. Okay, I'll leave you alone. Like I'll
Oh.
leave you alone right now, or let me know if you need anything.
Uh-huh.
So my son is amazing. I would say my friends, James Bogans, Carnicia Bogans. I love them. Husband and wife. I love them. They are some of my greatest supporting friends through this journey. Definitely my husband. Come on
Yes.
now. Come on now. Definitely my husband. But yeah, and I would say also my siblings, my brother, my sister, they've been supportive. My father as well. So yeah, I've had a really great support system and team, even down to my healthcare professionals.
Yeah.
So The people involved, my doctors, like they are like friends. They're friendly to
Oh, I
me.
like that.
But my doctors, yeah, I could name quite a few people. I have a really large village, including my clients and the people that I train with. I could not do any of this without them. So I'm super grateful and super thankful for my village.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's always good to have. Everybody needs somebody, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, even though me and my husband married, but you know, we still need someone for us and things like that. You know, we've been the stubborn couple where we don't need nobody. We don't try to ask nobody for nothing. We stay in our, but along the way, as we got a little older, you know, and then a little pep talk from Mama T, you know
Yeah.
her.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you know we're learning, you know. I know you see Rakia James Battle on here. I met her doing going through my process of transitioning from the 9 to 5 to going into entrepreneurship. And when I got into the
Mhm.
financial world, me and her met, and she's been my sister since then. Like she's a rock star. She's a rock star.
Oh
So she's one of my biggest supporters. She gets on me sometimes. She love on me sometimes, but and we
yeah.
need that. We all need that.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
The
So what
village keeps
advice
us
do you
going.
have for others who struggle on their journey towards success?
Mm, I would definitely say keep your head up,
Mhm.
keep going, take the breaks that you need when necessary, when things don't feel right. Take the necessary time that you need to bring everything back together. And take the personal time that you need to for yourself. Um, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to start over.
Mhm.
Um, Make sure that whatever it is that you do, you play full out. So you give it your all or nothing at all.
Love it.
Yes, for sure. And just be consistent, be intentional about everything that you're doing, so that you can move with purpose.
Mhm. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that when you talk about failure. I talk about that all the time. Like failure is a part of the process. Um,
Yes.
tell us, how has failure played a role in your journey, and what did you learn from it?
Mm. So, with failure for me, I had to get out of my own head to
Mhm.
get over it. So, l- not looking at or thinking about what other people are going to think, especially if I know that I'm operating in purpose and I'm operating in what it is that God's called me to do,
Mhm.
pretty much canceling out the noise
Mhm.
and just focusing on what it is that He told me to do. When
Mhm.
I do that and I don't worry about what everybody else is going to say or what
Mhm.
everybody else is going to think about, it makes me be able to move forward in what it is that I'm supposed to do. So, regardless of what the outcome is going to be, that just gets rid of the nerves for me. Because
Yes.
going into, you know, doing something, it is very scary. And the first thing we think about is,
Mhm.
what if this doesn't turn out the way that I thought it was going to turn out?
Mhm.
Are you thinking it's not going to turn out the way that you thought, or the way
Mhm.
that everybody else think it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
So you have to really think about that. And once you answer that question, is going to be how mentally you move forward and being able to accept, okay, whether it fails or whether it doesn't, I'm going to look at this situation either as a lesson or a failure. I take everything as a lesson. I feel like God
Yes.
has a lesson in everything that it is that we do.
Yes. Yes.
So I try to evaluate that first. And then it just gives me more motivation to either move right or left.
Yeah.
So beforehand, many years ago, Jelana, I would have been like, oh, I don't know about this. I'm scared of how it's going to make me look, how it's going to make other people feel around me, or how
Mhm.
people are going to perceive it and how they're, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, older Jelana, I'm like, I'm doing what God told me to do. Yeah, it's scary, but at the end of the day, we're going to get it done. And
Mhm.
if I do fall on my butt, then there's a lesson that he's trying to teach me. And usually
Yes.
it's letting me know, you know, I'm operating in my will or his,
Yes.
or it's letting me know whether or not I'm doing what I want to do or I'm just doing something for the sake of somebody else. So,
Mm.
yeah.
I love that. I love that because I'm the same way because I told you working at the post office I was comfortable, and when I let it go and people not understanding my situation or anything, well, the post office is a good job, why would you let that go? And you gonna come take care of my child for free?
I know that's right.
But I was afraid and I held on to it even after taking the year 2020 off. I didn't let go. I was still connected to the post office. I hadn't put in my record. I just took time off because I was still trying to hold on to it. But I took that year off and still things was kind of like, I don't know. And I started entrepreneurship. Look, not trusting God, like, let me see how this worked before I quit. And then it just like was so hard. But like towards the end of 2019, I met some amazing people, and I said, Jelana, just is I don't know what else to do because they're not gonna let me continue to take off the way I have to take off
Mhm.
for my son. So I finally put in my resignation letter in January of 2020. Things just started happening, and by March 2020, I was a six-figure earner, like just making
Wow.
in 3 months, and like because I'm trying to hold on and won't close this door.
Yeah.
And well, I got bills to pay, I got kids to feed, I got,
Yes.
and God was like, child, let it go.
Yeah, for real. Like that
Yes.
you took that leap of faith and he took care
Mhm.
of you because you were operating in person in purpose. And that's like the most rewarding thing ever. It's scary, but it's very rewarding. Like people like me who have chronic conditions and we know, hey, we need insurance. We need those benefits that 9 to 5 comes with, So it's
Yep.
scary because it's like we know we have to take care of ourselves.
Yep.
And I was working a job with another corporation, and I had been working with that job for 6 years. And I was literally working 3 different positions and just being myself. And I was overworked and I was overtired. And I started to develop lupus symptoms on the job, and that had never happened to me before. And
Wow.
I knew that it was due to stress. So I
Mhm.
literally went to my boss and I asked her and I said, um, I'll finish out today, but tomorrow I need that day off because I'm starting to develop flare symptoms and I'm not feeling well and my body's sending me signs that I need to sit down. And she looked at me and she said, "You're the only person that I can depend on, and I can't let you have tomorrow off."
Oh.
I
Wow.
said, "What?" I was hysterical, girl. I
Oh
was
my
hysterical.
goodness.
And I knew that wasn't right.
Mhm.
Especially me, having a chronic condition, like you can't tell someone that.
Right.
And I knew something had to be done. And I use that as a motivation to start personally working on my personal business and working on more so my entrepreneurial activities so that I can go ahead and walk into full entrepreneurship, because I can't have, like, when I'm sick and, people telling me that I have to be to work. Like, I can't take a day off, just one day off, to get my body and heal my body the way I need to so that I can return back to you.
Right.
It was just a wake up. Yeah, it was a wake up call for me. I completely flipped. Yes, I did. And I reported back to HR the next morning because something had to be done and it was definitely taken care of. I definitely put in my 2 weeks notice shortly after I returned, and I just let them know, like, I can't do that. I can't do that, and I have to take care of myself. And that's what I did. And I found a job that was able to give me the flexibility to, like I said, be able to still keep those benefits that I need so that I can take care of myself and to still be able to walk in full-time entrepreneurship. So that's why I still juggle the two, but I have the flexibility now to make sure that I can handle that and still take care of myself.
Yeah. And that goes back to, looking at those situations, like, because I always look at things like, now after that first getting over that first failure of procrastination and all of that, now I look at every situation like, God, where are you in this? Like,
Yes.
I felt like, because I kept wanting to go back to the post office, and it was so much happening. I can't even begin to tell you all the things that were happening. I went back, and all of a sudden, people that started hating me, they just started trying to get me fired for it. And I'm like, I'm barely here. Why y'all trying to fire me? Like, and just co-workers not getting along with them. And like, now, since I left, they call, they text, they message me on Facebook. Also, now y'all like me. Like, okay, God, you was in that.
Being nosy.
Yes.
Yes, I'm still doing good.
Yep. I ain't gotta drive no mail truck no more.
Right. You still there working that job, and you trying to see how good I'm doing.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, what is going on? And I told my husband, especially being pregnant, it was crazy when I was pregnant with my youngest son. It was like, I can't work on these conditions, pregnant and all. And then it caused, like, after I had Malik, I went through postpartum depression. It was just so much going on. Like, leaving that door was like I love the job, but I just knew God was like, and I laughed, like, after I left, it was like, man, now I just feel that relief.
Like, yeah, and it goes to show you that when you have a relationship with God, He will definitely tell you when it's time. And when I tell you, that is the way that I've been moving throughout my whole journey, is listening to the voice of God and listening when He tells me to move. Because I do believe that when we are in places where there's always seasons, and I do believe that sometimes we are on assignment, and there are certain things that at that moment we're supposed to be picking up or learning from in order to get to our next. And a lot of people don't sit still long enough to hear the voice of God and to hear His direction on how He wants you to move and when He wants you to move. So a lot of people, when they're going through, or when something's not going their way, instantly they're quick to go and be gone and say, well, I'm just going over here. And little do you know that the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Talk about it.
Problems. There's going to be problems, whether they look like that same problem that it was before you were at the other job. It's going to be another problem, but it's going to look different at this job. It's like you have to pick and choose your battles. But at the same time, how I continue to move from now on, I always know, even at that job that I was at for 6 years, I knew that God had me there on assignment. I knew, and I knew that when the time would come, I would feel uneasy. I would not want to go in there when I tell you, when I came to the end, when I was stressed out and when I had that lupus flare, everything was getting on my nerves.
Yes.
Things were not making sense.
Yep.
I couldn't, anything that I tried to make better wasn't working, because I was trying to make something happen and God was trying to close the door of what I was trying to keep open. And
Yes.
little do I know, I was going through a war,
Yes.
back and forth, because he's telling me it's time, and I'm giving excuses as to
Yep.
why I need to stay. And
Yep.
when it's time to go, literally, like, he will make sure that that door closes regardless. The job that I worked at prior to that, when I was there for 6 years again, and that job, I knew that I had outgrown that job, but I still was in a comfort zone, and I felt comfortable because I'm thinking about everything that, could possibly happen if I leave this job today, not trusting and not having
Yep.
faith. And literally, we had the big bosses come in the next day and say, yeah, we're shutting this company down. What?
Oh, wow. God, like, okay, this was gonna move you.
Exactly. So now everything that I was thinking about before is at a 10 times max now, because I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to make it?
Oh, wow.
And so it's just crazy how he gets us to move. And when we don't listen, when we don't listen, he's going to get his way regardless.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you just have to be still and know and listen to the voice of God. That's how I move now. I'm telling you, during this journey, he has showed me over and over, time and time again, like, I'm going to get my way. I'm going to have my way.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lead you in the wrong direction or the wrong path if you just listen to me. So I just think that even for any entrepreneur, believer or not, I know, even if you're not a believer, you believe in the higher power, just have that relationship. So that, I feel like that's very necessary, especially for the entrepreneurs, to be able to listen and hear the voice of God, because he's definitely going to tell you when to move. But he's been telling me when to shift this whole time. So that's why when I release something, I walk into something greater and something that I feel like aligns with what I need in the moment. And that's how I know that it's God sent. And I just sit there, I'm like, thank you, God.
Thank you, God. Yes.
Yes. And when you confused and when you don't know, when you listening to the voice of God, or when when's the right time, like, communicate with him, pray. Prayer is huge. Pray and just ask for what it is that he wants you to do, and he's definitely going to show you. I'm telling you, if you've never asked him for what it is that you want,
and be ready for it, because it's not gonna come the way you want it, because
he's not. Hey, and that, I'm so glad that you said that, because that is so true. It may not always come when you want it, but he's always on time. And sometimes a lot of people are afraid to bring it to him because they know that he's really going to do what it is. And they don't know sometimes how he's going to show up or what it's going to look like, because they have this preconceived notion of what it is that they how they think it's going to go or what it's going to look like. And he completely flips it on you. Remember, his ways are not our ways. His ways are not our ways, not at all. He does not see things how we see things. And I'm glad, because we have this thing in our mind of how we think or how we want things to go. And his idea, his vision, and everything is just so much bigger than ours. Like, he blows my mind. And I'll be like, dang, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Sometimes I be crying like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, that thing I prayed for last month. This how you gonna do it?
Exactly.
Like, right. Next time I'll be Pacific, like, can you not hurt me along the way? But sometimes we have to feel that pain to get to a next level of where he wants you to be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning so much, like stepping into entrepreneurship, because there's so many times where we'll say, I trust you, God, I trust you, God. And that
Mhm.
test comes, it's like, wait, what are you doing, God? What are you doing? Like,
Right, right. I wasn't expecting for it to be like this. Oh my
like,
gosh.
yes, like so many times I be in the middle of my cry and I bust out laughing like, fool, go sit down somewhere. You just go sit
Right.
down. Like, you just,
Right.
it's a lesson in it though. Like I
It
feel like
is.
I don't need no one to tell me my growth because I feel it myself sometimes. Like sometimes
Mhm.
I had to have confirmation because it was like new to me. And it's like, am I growing? And why am I questioning myself? And why do I need confirmation from someone else? So
Yeah.
now like I know this. Okay, this is God. This is God. And I still cry my tears. I know he look at me sometimes like this child of mine, Jesus.
It's a part of the journey, though. It's all a part of, man. When I feel like I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna cry. They gonna be flowing.
Like
I'll
I'm
be mad,
okay. I'm okay.
right?
And my
Mad and
husband's
talking
so
to him at the
cool
same
though.
time.
Like my husband's so cool. It's gonna be all right, Yolanda. I have to have a solution. I have to know what's going on. But God, like you don't have to know everything. You said you trust me. Why? Just go sit down somewhere. I'll be like,
I
I gotta
know.
figure this out.
Yes, yes. Especially us that like to have control. I
Yes.
know.
Yes.
I know. I'm a bull, so I know.
Well, Jelana, it was a pleasure speaking to you. Now I know we went over a little bit, but I'm so enjoying this
Yes.
conversation. We definitely
Yes,
gotta
me
have
too.
you again. But before we go, tell the listeners where they can find you at. And hey, you guys, make sure you follow her because I'm starting my journey tomorrow. And I'm for
Yes.
real this time. I was getting fine with Jelana. I was getting fine, and then I stopped it. And she didn't stop. She kept going and she kept getting fine. I was like, now I'm looking at her in the gym like that could have been me. Could have been me.
That's
But
still gonna be you.
yes, I'm gonna get back on my journey because being an entrepreneurship, you gotta feel good inside,
Yeah.
and you gotta, it's not the look, it's the inside. Cause
Yeah.
I know my inside. So I'm like, cause I was feeling bad the other day and I was like, I get a lot of headaches and stuff. And I know we had
Mhm.
another young lady on here last week talking about health, and
Yeah.
she had different health products. She was talking about your immune system and all of that too. So this is very
Mhm.
important, you guys. So make sure, um Jelana, just let us know your website so we can really get on this journey and get ourselves together.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Jelana Marie. It's Jelana Marie, Marie. And you can find me on Facebook at Jelana Wright, just like it's spelled on the screen. And there, you will also find the links to my Herbalife Nutrition page. You can always DM or email me when it comes to questions about personal training. You'll also, on both platforms, Facebook and Instagram, you'll be able to see anytime that I'm throwing a fit camp. I usually post a flyer, talk about it in my stories. I'll send out flyers. Yeah, so you can catch me there and stay with me on my journey. I'd love to talk to you, answer any questions you may have, and I hope we get together so we can work out sometime.
Yay. And I know we have some people in Alabama and California. So the Zoom is coming up soon, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
For this winter, we'll be back via Zoom doing fit camps. So, yeah, I also, on my Instagram page, you'll find a link in my bio. If you click the link, it'll allow you to fill out a wellness evaluation form. If you fill that out, that'll let me know a little bit more about you. Give me your contact information so that I can connect with you as far as your goals, whether you have problems with meal prepping, you have problems with trying to figure out like how to start in the gym, anything like that, or if you want to connect with me as far as lupus questions, you can also ask me there as well. I do participate in the lupus summits annually, so if you are in Georgia, we can connect that way too.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it was a pleasure, you guys. This is our time. This is your girl, the Life Coach Navigator, with Coach Jay, and we definitely gonna have you back. So we will see you all next Thursday.
All right, thank you.